Hi, I'm Movie Cat, and you are watching Fantastic Crap. Well, another year has passed, and here we are in 2018, and what better way to bring in a new year than with loads of violence, explosions, and death? This brings me to this episode's spotlight feature, The Punisher, released in 1989 and starring B-movie great Dolph Lundgren. There were 3 Punisher films made, none of them related, and all with different casts. There was also a recent Netflix series which was beyond amazing, but this one was the first and sadly the most underrated. I've seen this baby on so many worst comic book movies of all time lists, and I feel this is a great misjustice. I realized that a lot of fans were mad that Frank Castle never dons his skull shirt or has his dog or any of that, but once you get past that and pay attention to the movie, you realize that not only does the movie nail the essence of the character, but also the tone and feel of the comics as well. The movie also does awesome things not in the comics that I actually wish were featured in canon and future movies. But we will get to that. First, let's start this murder fest and dive deep into the tortured life of the Punisher. Hey, is this the Punisher or Buck Rogers? This movie opens up with a notorious crime boss winning his court trial, only to go back to his mansion and have his men picked off rather quickly by the angry vigilante.
Joey!
Note to self, never kill Dolph Lundgren's loved ones. Also, remember when I mentioned the things this movie did that I would love to see featured in canon of the comics and other movies? Well, these little babies replaced the skull shirt for the movie, and I love them.
Look, there's somebody there. I got the tight shot. I'm gonna cover. Who is that? Cover this.
I love these skull knives. They are to die for. Ow.
Get it close up!
I got it.
You have to admit, that's an awesome way to introduce Lundgren as the Punisher into the movie.
Come on, God. Answer me. For years I'm asking you why. Why are the innocent dead and the guilty alive?
Most people who talk to God ask for lottery numbers, but I guess that works too.
Where is justice? Where is punishment?
Nowadays, punishment and justice is getting banned off of social media. Ow.
Or have you already answered? Have you already said to the world, here is justice, here is punishment, here in me?
That really is an awesome quote.
Despite the fact that the official police department statement
Don't
said
you people
Castle
have
died with his
anything better to
family.
do with your time? It's 2 o'clock in the goddamn morning, for Christ's sake. Shit.
That is Louis Gossett Jr. as Lieutenant Jank Berkowitz, the grizzled former best friend of Frank Castle, who is now currently the head of the Punisher Task Force, and one of the many things that make this movie awesome.
I worked with you once, 5 years ago. The Moretti heroin bust. It was my first assignment, plainclothes. I was the hooker.
Oh, right.
This hooker incident she is talking about was a scene actually filmed as the opening scene for the movie, but was taken out. But not only is it mentioned here, but you can see a picture of the scene on the back of the VHS and DVD case. And yes, it shows her in her hooker outfit. He reluctantly takes her in as his new partner in tracking down the Punisher and proving to an unbelieving city that it really is Frank Castle. Meanwhile, crime boss Franco has arrived back in town with a plan to unite all the families as one big crime syndicate.
And what do we do about the Punisher? One thing at a time, Jim. First we consolidate. And then we obliterate.
Now, you may be thinking that Franco here is the main villain, but no, there is a far greater force of evil lurking in the shadows of this movie. We will be getting to that shortly. The movie then introduces the Punisher's sidekick, who is a washed-up ex-actor turned homeless bum who likes to break off into rhymes. But believe it or not, he never gets annoying, and it's kind of lovable. But enough of that. It seems the local mafia has a ninja problem. I think our bad guys just got phased out by even better bad guys. The Punisher then shows up and crashes the party in the most epic way possible. You know, Dolph Lundgren really loves to swing into action. Also, I like to imagine that this is just how he normally enters a room. The ninjas get the better of the Punisher and escape, leaving the Punisher wounded but still alive. And the next day we meet the real villain of the movie.
You Americans have a great capacity for violence, but it is wild, unfocused. You will learn.
Lady Tanaka, a woman who could give even Satan nightmares. Lady Tanaka is the leader of the Yakuza, and she is there to take over as the reigning crime syndicate of the city. Franco dislikes her terms she was giving him and decides to go to war. But in the meanwhile, a badass is riding a motorcycle in the sewers. Why do people hate this movie again? Oh, and getting back to the Mafia War, it seems that Lady Tanaka already has plans to make the Mafia bow down to her. And what is this plan, you may ask? She kidnaps all of the kids of the crime bosses.
Hi, I'm Peter Bear. I really care. I have some things to teach to you.
Like what, Peter?
Peter the Bear says, "Shut the hell up!" The Punisher has Franco's office bugged and knows everything that has happened, and decides to take advantage of the fact that everyone thinks he is dead. He plans on letting them all kill themselves, and then taking a nice vacation. But his homeless sidekick delivers him news of the children.
The children of the new bosses are now counted among their losses. I command you to see! This is a result of your 5-year killing spree. You've weakened the fathers to such degrees they couldn't protect their own families.
I know know I should hate this character, but there's just something awesome about him. Anyway, the mob bosses want blood after their kids are snatched, but Franco tells them that they do not know who they are dealing with, and tells them a fantastic story about Lady Tanaka's past that really sums up her character nicely. He tells the story of her twin brother, whom was the only person she was ever really close with, who stole from the Yakuza, but was not touched because of her, which led to some problems. The other bosses demanded she show them a true act of loyalty before she took over. So...
You know what she did? She went home, cooked her brother a beautiful meal, waited until he had finished, and then slit his throat.
Trust me, she lives up to the story. This woman is fantastically evil. Also, the Punisher starts hitting the Yakuza's businesses as a message to them to return the children. Wait, that picture on that window, was that an elf making out with a Black Panther? What the heck? The bomb gives the Punisher some intel that leads him to the place the Yakuza are keeping the children, and they go there to rescue them.
Listen, if they're holding the kids here, it's with the fucking arsenal. You move left instead of right, you're dead.
The critics said the same thing about my Hamlet.
Did I mention that I really like this character? Yeah. After an awesome action scene in a funhouse, the Punisher gets captured and Lady Tanaka introduces herself and tortures him for information.
Who sent you?
Batman.
Now that is a movie team-up I'd love to see. They also capture the bomb and torture him, and this is when the Punisher decides to escape and kick butt.
I don't want to stretch this out, so why don't you tell me where the kids are?
Action movie one-liners. How I love you. Oh, and Lieutenant Jake and his partner finally decide to search the sewers for the Punisher.
How come you never gave up?
Because I know what it's like to be given up on.
Who gave up on you?
Everybody.
Who the heck was that? Did they just find a Ninja Turtle? The Yakuza sets up a meeting with the Mafia leaders to discuss the return of their children, and Franco decides not to go, which turns out to be very wise. Oh, and the movie then shows us just how diabolical and cold Lady Tanaka is.
You're gonna kill us! Do it!
I already have.
Champagne.
The glasses.
I told you that she was freaking evil, but in case you still doubt her evilness...
Thirsty, Mr. DeLeo. Since you have refused the drink, please accept the chaser.
Another note to self, never let this lady take me out to dinner. Anyway, the Punisher has had enough of the Yakuza and steals a bus, and through a series of more fantastic action scenes, rescues the children. To me, this here is when the movie stops just being about him killing bad guys and shows him deciding to do the right thing and protect the innocent from a situation that he helped become reality. This plot gives him depth and humanity. Besides, there's just something fantastic about seeing a well-armed Dolph Lundgren marching down a factory hallway with a line of little children following behind him. He manages to save all the children except for one, Franco's son. He escapes with the others in a bus, breaking their way through a lot more action scenes. Now that is a Yakuza member with a lot of dang balls. Jeez. They get away from the bad guys and the Punisher brings the kids to the police and then gets arrested.
What the fuck you call 125 murders in 5 years, huh?
Work in progress.
Honestly, Dolph Lundgren plays a fantastic Punisher. Franco has his goons rescue the Punisher and break him out of custody so that he can help him rescue his son. In order to make sure that the Punisher will do this, he kidnaps Jake and tells the Punisher that his friend will die if he does not help. He agrees, and they both attempt a daring raid on Lady Tanaka's headquarters. Also, since he is a badass, Jake manages to escape.
Can I ask you a question?
What?
Is an IQ test required for this job?
No.
I didn't think so.
Badass rule number 1. Never escape a mobster lair without giving a sarcastic one-liner. And badass rule number 2. Never escape a mobster lair on an empty stomach.
Hey man, I got the pizza.
Have I mentioned how awesome Louis Gossett Jr. is in this movie as well? Well, he is. Why is there not any bullet holes in the paper walls they were shooting at? What kind of paper are these walls made out of? And how did they not shoot each other in that crossfire? I think this movie has given up on thinking. Actually, come to think of it, I don't think it was ever thinking in the first place. Ow. Franco has a showdown with Lady Tanaka, who has a knife at his son's throat. He asks her what she wants, and her demands are a bit, extreme.
What do you want?
On your knees. On your knees!
What exactly is it that she wants from this guy? This might be getting a bit naughty here.
Put the gun in your mouth. You have my word, he will live.
How do I know you'll keep it?
You don't. But some chance is better than no chance.
A porno has a better chance at winning an Academy Award than the chance you would have of this psychotic woman actually keeping her word.
Pull the trigger, Mr. Franco. Now. This is part of your education, you watch.
I know the plot here is that the Yakuza has muscled their way into town and have tried to take over, but this feels that this guy was meant to be the main villain, and this crazy woman has crashed the movie in a hostile takeover attempt to dethrone him as head baddie.
Goodbye, Mr. Franco.
That couldn't have happened to a crazier psychopath. Franco is reunited with his son and then sends him out of the room so that he can kill the Punisher and remove any problems his kid might have in the future when he takes over the business. The kid comes back and interrupts them, and a struggle breaks out which leads to Franco being shot and killed. The son does not take this very well and points a gun at the Punisher, who tells him to do it, but he does not.
Grow up to be a good man. Because if not, I'll be waiting.
The whole setup for a sequel which would never happen. This actually makes me sad.
I still talk to God sometimes. I ask him if what I'm doing is right or wrong. I'm still waiting for an answer.
Dude, God is probably busy with all the suckers you just sent his way. Just saying.
And until I get one, I'll be out here, waiting, watching. The guilty will be punished.
There is nothing like ending your movie with an awesome quote and bare Dolph Lundgren butt. Well, that wraps up The Punisher, a vastly underrated comic book action flick that really needs more attention than what it gets. All the action set pieces are well done, the actors do their jobs perfectly, and Lundgren is pretty amazing as Frank Castle. With all this going for it, does him not having a skull shirt really ruin all that? I don't think it does. I give the 1989 Punisher 8 hairballs out of 10. Well, we have started this new year off with a blast, and trust me, the rest of it is going to be a wild ride, because I have several more awesome gems to unleash on you before 2019 gets here. Until then, the balcony is closed. Wait, I can't end with that. That belongs to those critic guys, the thumbs and stuff. Okay. I will see you at the next video. No, wait. That's Markiplier. I remember it, so you don't have... No, wait. That's Taken too. Well. Now. There. The movie opens up with a notorious crime boss winning his court. The word is all. Okay. The all set up for a sequel, which never would happen. Would never happen. The actors do their jobs perfectly, and Lundgren is a pretty amazing amazing. Well, that wraps up The Punisher, a vastly underrated comic book action flick that really Badass rule number 1. Never escape a mobster lair without giving a sarcastic, what? Trust me, she lives up to this story. This movie, I know I'm talking about a movie, but I'm talking about a woman right now. Oh, and getting back to the Mafia war, it seems Lady Tanaka already has plans to make the Mafia bow down to her. And what is... Oh, and getting back to the Mafia war, it seems Lady Tanaka already has plans to make the Mafia... What was that? My voice turned into weird stuff. I think I was becoming a Mortal Kombat character.